So I want to talk about this article really quick because it's all starting to make so much sense right now. This author and journalist was having lunch with friends. There was a white guy and he's married to a black lady, and they were talking politics. And he says that farmers weren't worried about Trump deporting migrants because, wait for it, they thought because unemployment was so high for black people, that these black people would run back to the fields and do the jobs that the migrants were doing when they got deported. So she asked, like, where'd you get that information from? White farmer TikTok or MAGA Facebook memes? Like, where'd you get this information from? And her and the wife basically started giving him information, letting him know unemployment is only 6.8% for African Americans, and 93% of black people are currently working. Got so caught up in what they were hearing at Fox News and other places, thinking black jobs, immigrants are taking black jobs, that they just assumed they'd get rid of the immigrants and black people would take the immigrants' jobs. Sir, our ancestors did not march, die, and fight for civil rights so we could go back to the fields? Like, what? But shout out to the Latino immigrant population that have mastered that labor with skill and stamina. This country doesn't even appreciate it enough. Oh, and by the way, when they do try to hire Americans, black or white, to do those jobs, most of them don't even last half a day. They just ghost them without even picking up their paychecks. True story. So y'all, tell me, do you really believe that they thought black people were planning to replace immigrants in that labor force if they got deported? Because I need to know who was smoking that logic. What do you think?
So I know I was talking about, the Latino vote before. The Viva vote for Donald Trump. Okay, well, let's get on to the white folks. The white farmers. So, word is out now that the white farmers voted for Donald Trump because they thought they were going to get black Americans in the field. Because they also thought black folks did not have jobs. So when we put this all together, somehow the white farmers were convinced that black folks don't have jobs. We don't work. we don't work. And so they voted for Donald Trump because they thought, okay, he gonna send them in the fields. So Donald Trump and them, with that whole Project 2025, said, okay, so we got to make this happen. So we got to cut these DEI stuff, all this DEI stuff, to put black Americans out of work. When in reality, they put a bunch of white folk out of work just to get black folks out of work. And so all these cuts that are happening are to try and harm black Americans so much till they think that we're going to go into the fields. Now, when you think about that, that makes you double back and see why they want the Latinos out. Because the Latinos, right, to them, they are reproducing entirely too fast, okay? And so they're like, we got to get them out of here because black Americans don't reproduce as fast as the Latinos. And so if we could get them out, then the black Americans can take their place in the field. This is for real. And so now you double back to the black jobs. They're taking your job. Yes, you got to double back to what he said. They're taking black jobs, y'all. Like, they have all this down. Like, they have all this whole circle. So now let's go back to the farmers, if you're still with me, okay? Because the white farmers, that's what they believed was going to happen. So if y'all got all that straight, this is the message to the white farmers. The last thing you want It's for Black Americans to be in your fields. The-
Wait, you mean to tell me Americans don't want to pick lettuce for $2 an hour? No. Now the farmers are crying because they can't find any workers. Ain't that something? After you pushed out all of the immigrant workers who actually did the job, now you're standing around wondering why Chet and Kaylee won't come pick your cabbage in 100-degree weather for $4.75 and a Capri Sun? Y'all really thought folks were going to jump at the chance to break their backs for pennies on a dollar. But you know what's even funnier, y'all? Some of these farmers say the American workers they do get, they don't even last the whole damn day. One guy said somebody walked off by lunch, and honestly, I support it. Listen, I wouldn't be out there picking strawberries and fighting bees and being dehydrated just so that farmer could sell those strawberries for $12.99 a box at Whole Foods. Negative. See, they've been telling you this lie for years. They took our jobs. Nah, Americans, you didn't want those jobs. You just didn't want them to have the jobs either. Now look at you, a field full of crops and not a soul to pick them. Next time, think twice before turning labor into a culture war. 'Cause now it's just you and your own damn tomatoes.
So white people will never leave black people alone, and I'm going to tell you why. White society's obsession with black people isn't new. It's centuries old. If you think about slavery, colonialism, and exploitation, from the start, white wealth in America was built off the backs of black bodies. Sugar, cotton, tobacco, rice. This wasn't just economics. It was a system where white people's very identity was shaped around controlling and owning and watching black bodies. But here's the wild contradiction in all of this, right? While trying to dehumanize us, white culture has always been obsessed with us, right? They copied our music, our style, our language, our food, even our rhythm, all while denying us basic rights. Think about jazz and rock and hip hop and fashion, all born out of black genius, only to be taken, watered down, and sold back to the world with a white face on it. So why can't they just stay away? Because in a system that is built both on exploitation and envy, distance is impossible. White supremacy depends on keeping black people in place, close enough to use, control, or imitate, but never free enough to threaten the hierarchy. It's a sick paradox, fear and fascination at the same damn time. On a psychological level, it's projection. White folks will project their guilt, their fear, and their insecurities onto blackness, and then turn around and crave the very life, culture, and resilience they tried to destroy. It's like they want the sauce, but not the struggle. Now, to be real, not every white person acts like this, but the system, the way whiteness has defined itself against blackness, makes it so this obsession keeps resurfacing. Whether it's over policing or culture appropriation or trying to legislate our lives, it always comes back to the old need to dominate mixed with a quiet desire to be what they can't.
All of us farmers have officially fucked around and we have officially found the fuck out now, guys. I am on the verge of bankruptcy. I'm on the verge of tears. Overnight, all of my help fled. My help, out of fear for their safety, their lives, they fled. And now I am left out here standing in my unharvested carrot field. It is January and I'm in Kansas, and this is when carrot harvest goes in Kansas. This field should be full of workers, but all my workers left. And who the do you think is to blame for that? Every single one of them left. Now I have to by myself try to fill that truck with a load of carrots in one day, and I can't do that, guys. I have to get these carrots to market by next week or my contract is terminated. This is $936,000 worth of carrots right here, and I can't pick them by myself. If they're unharvested, I will get kicked out of that contract and I will get sued by the Planters Loves Carrots company.
Back like I never left. I ain't one to gossip, so you ain't heard this from me. But there's a guy on here, right, that says that he is in the white supremacy Twitter group, right? And that he likes everybody, but he's infiltrating over there so he can bring the tea back to the black community. And he said that the white farmers of America, and I knew that's what FFA, Future Farmers of America, meant when we was growing up, was because they were trying to make America great again that way. He said that they were on there talking about where's all the black people at. We thought they was gonna come back and work on our farmland when we got rid of the immigrants, meaning the Latino people, because they kept saying that the Latino people had all the black jobs. And what Trump meant when he said black jobs was that they were trying to make us go back to slavery. Yeah. How's that working? Yeah. I'm just, like I said, I ain't one to gossip, so you ain't heard this from me. Let me know in the comment section what you heard about the future farmers of America, or and find out farmers of America, or the whatever you heard about them. Let me know. All right, bye.
What we are witnessing in America right now is not just about politics anymore. It's a clash between expectation, identity, power, and reality. A lot of people voted believing certain groups were going to suffer while their own lives will significantly improve. But now many are realizing that political decisions do not just affect people who you dislike. Eventually, policies circles back and affect everyone, including people who supported them in the first place. One thing that keeps standing out is how some communities expected the president's return to office to restore a version of America where they felt culturally dominant and economically secured again. Many supporters believed tougher immigration policies, stronger nationalisms, and aggressive political rhetoric will somehow bring back stability into their lives. But instead of fixing deeper economic struggles, many ordinary people are now facing labor shortages, rising tensions, economic uncertainties, and social divisions. So that's why some farmers are now panicking. For years, America's agricultural system heavily dependent on immigrant labor. Many people knew this reality but ignored it because immigration debate became more emotional than practical. Once deportations increased or fear spread throughout immigrant communities, entire industry began to struggle because the labor force disappeared. Crops start rotting, businesses lose workers, and suddenly people realize how dependent the economy was on the same people that they spent years attacking. At the same time, many black Americans are observing these situations differently because historically they have already survived generations of instability, exclusion, discrimination, economic hardship, and political betrayal. There is a sense within parts of black community that they were always forced to develop resilience because society never guaranteed them comfort in the first place. So while others are shocked by the instability today, many black people and black communities are reacting with a mindset of survival and adaptation because struggle is not new to them. Another thing happening right now is that many people are beginning to understand that division was always used as a political strategy. Poor and working class communities often share similar economic problems, but instead of uniting around healthcare, wages, housing, or education, the society keeps redirecting frustration towards race, immigration, cultural wars, and identity politics. That keeps ordinary people fighting each other while those at the top maintain power and wealth. What is interesting is how quickly political narratives backfire. Some Latino conservatives believe strong immigration crackdowns only target other people, not realizing that immigration systems often become broader and harsher once empowered. Some white working class supporters believed economic hardship was mainly caused by immigrants or minorities, but many are now seeing that corporate greed, inflation, wealth inequality, political corruption affected them too. And so there is also frustration because some black Americans feel like they are constantly expected to fix systems that historically excluded them. Whenever national crisis happens, there are often calls for unity, solidarity, but many ask where the same unity was during conversations about police violence, economic inequality, voting rights, segregation, or discrimination. That creates distrust because some people feel like society only asks for togetherness when other groups begin experiencing discomfort themselves.